This is the story of the super force of space explorers.
Greetings, one and all, and welcome to Mornings of Mischief. I'm your host, Stone Loki. Good morning, everyone. How is everybody doing? Daryl the Derelict. It's Friday, bitches. Drink up. Good morning, everybody. I hope you guys have had an absolutely excellent week. We just got done with a absolutely wonderful, it's a wonderful episode of the Orville. It's not like perfect, but I think it was wonderful. It's spooky. It's scary. You watch it with the lights off. You feel the critters crawling all over you. At least that's what Arwyn said. She was like, "Oh my God, it was critters. There were critters crawling all over me, Loki."
Cockroaches.
Yes,
Cockroaches.
space roaches, y'all. Space roaches. Nope.
Would you like to know more? And a big good morning to the panel. Good morning, Dave Bob. How are you doing, brother?
Good morning. Doing good.
Good morning, Speaker for the Dead.
Good morning, everybody.
The Lady Arwyn Avalon.
Good morning, y'all. Good
And of course, the one and only Clobberin Time. How are you doing, brother?
I'm here, man. Good to see you. Hello, great chat out there, and to my fellow panelists in the chat on the there. Thank you so much for having me here, bud.
DJ Ronnie G says, I did confirm that the ship's exterior texture is more detailed. They got a budget raise for this season, apparently. I mean, everything looks better. The sound, the music in this show is better. The visual effects are better. I think it's been good so far. 2 episodes in, and we're kicking ass and taking names. So the name of this episode, is, oh my God, I'm
Shadow Realms.
Shadow Realms. Thank you, Jesus. Beat me with a stick. Why don't you?
I remember Realms. I couldn't remember the Shadow.
Could have just called it Things That Go Bump in the Dark.
Yeah.
Ooh, yes. Yes.
Dig Outlaw says he gave it a 6. Sorry, looks like a story I've seen a few times. Security officer kicked serious butt. Yes, she did. Tell us
That's my
about
favorite
it.
scene.
Yep.
I'm not big on the horror stuff either, to be honest with you. And to be honest with you, look, it was an okay look. I love this show so much. I mean, having an episode that's not as great as the week before, which is understandable because I love that other one so much. I hope they've got the Brandon Braga stuff out of their system. For people who don't know what that means, Brandon Braga, who used to work on Star Trek: The Next Generation and all the other Berman treks and stuff, has done a good job working on the Orville and keeping it very Star Trekish. But this guy has a serious problem. He is, if you track him through all his writing career in Star Trek, he is obsessed with shows where people get transformed into monsters. He's done it 5 times on The Next Generation. He did it 2 or 3 times on Voyager. He even did it on Enterprise. The guy has a problem. Look, he married Jerry Ryan, so I can't compete with him.
No, yeah.
But even though she dumped his ass, again, God bless him. He's done a good job on the Orville. But he's written, again, his whole track record, you can easily look at it. He's got a serious problem. He loves, and we've been saying this since before Voyager was up, when he was working on that. Like, what is it about this guy turning people into monsters? He's obsessed with it. And I'm not exaggerating. I could name you the episodes. It's insane.
Oh, yeah. Did y'all notice also in the credits who one of the consultants was? John Favreau.
He's been there. His name's been on the show since the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if he's even consulting anymore. It was just because it was there at the early stages. I don't know. If he still has anything to do with it or not, I don't know.
I don't know.
T-shirt historian asks, "Hey Loki, I'm going to Robert E. Howard Days in Cross Plains today. You want me to bring you back anything?"
Wow.
And no, I'm not stealing his typewriter. If you get a lanyard, I collect lanyards from cons. So if you get a lanyard for it and you don't want to keep it, by all means send me the lanyard. I would love that. I love lanyards from cons.
A buddy of mine went there, said it's definitely, if you're a Howard fan, and again, you have to set it up with the people who own the house, and they give you a tour and stuff. And they've got a lot of rules. You can go in there. They got a friend of mine. I went, saw different pictures there. They had a picture of people who visited. Of course, Roy Thomas naturally, but also Bruce Boxleitner of all people, and a few others. Was a Howard fan apparently, and that's a place for. And when I say Howard fan, you must know what I'm talking about. Two Gun Bob. That means creator of Conan, and it's a must. So. That's very
Heck yes. I heard Conan came to him in a vision. You will write my stories.
Did you ever see the film, the Whole Wide World?
No, I didn't.
Highly recommend it. Vincent D'Onofrio plays Robert E. Howard. It's from 1996. Renee Zellweger's in it. It tells the story of Robert E. Two Gun Bob and how he created Conan. I mean, he covers him creating Conan and many other things. Great film. It's really wonderfully shot. Great story told. Underrated film. Again, biopic. And Howard had an interesting story. He was really an interesting cat, and a tragic ending. But in real life,
all I'm hearing in my head is bum 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 bum
bum bum bum bum bum bum bum.
Hey, and in the film, the way they deal with it, the way they talk about Conan is incredible.
Before I moved, I would play that on my record player every morning before the show. Piss my neighbors off. Now I can't do that because the neighbors call the fucking office and they're like, "Oh my God, he's being loud again." Why do you think I'm like, "Good morning, Vala"? I'm like, "Fuck you, pricks."
Yeah, Basil Howard Warriors.
Screw you, neighbors.
That's one of the greatest soundtracks ever, dude.
Oh yeah. In the days of high adventure.
Let me tell you.
My boy,
What was that guy's? That Mako?
Mako. Yeah,
Mako.
Mako
or Mako, one of them. Great movie.
Tomato.
Yeah.
Great actor.
Yeah, he was.
Absolutely great
He did one of the voices in Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I think it was his last role. He passed away before the end of the 3rd season, and they had to find somebody to come in and finish, and it just wasn't the same. I'm like, they tried to do an approximation, but I'm just like, no, you're not You're not him.
Before the oceans drank Atlantis.
Yeah.
And the rise of the sons of Arius.
High morning at age.
Oh man. Okay, so I don't even know. I don't think we even really started yet. So this admiral comes on board, and I don't know about you guys. This admiral comes on the Orville, and obviously him and Claire have this thing, and I was immediately thinking he was banging her as a cadet, and this is going to all be about. This is all going to be about the inappropriate relationship that he had, the teacher-student relationship.
Yeah.
And again, the Orville has subverted my expectations.
Yes.
Because he, seeing all this setup, and then that's not at all what it was about.
He was actually a nice guy.
For once, he wasn't a bad admiral until, of course.
Yeah. Well, until the change.
I mean, look, because that was a bad cliche in even in Star Trek, the bad admiral.
Anytime you go on a space station that has a butthole for a door, things are going to go bad.
You should have worn the space suits at first.
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah,
I was
right,
like, come on now, y'all. This is alien.
Well,
very, very
You're
alien.
you're going on some giant ass creepy looking alien ship.
Yeah.
And you're gonna just go strolling around there in your damn civvies or
That even the
whatever.
krill are like demons. I'm like, okay, if the krill are afraid, let's take some extra precautions, shall we?
And
Yeah, but the crew are afraid of a car rental place.
I mean, true.
Yeah.
But
English.
okay, you're in
We do
space.
better.
You're in space. It's better to be, safe than sorry. Let's be a little careful, but
I heard Avis's arch enemy was Enterprise.
See, that was a myth. It's actually turned out to be Hertz.
Oh God.
You know what though? I thought it was interesting that, they kind of make fun of them because of their religious proclivities, and yet in this instance, it was based in reality, which they kind of say that, that maybe this is based in something, but they're just looking at it through the lens of their religion. And I'm like, sometimes you need to pay attention to that stuff because that came from somewhere really, and they find out that, there was a perfectly legitimate reason, to be worried about that sector of space. So I thought that was interesting, the religious implications. That was just like, don't always just dismiss it because it's a religion, because it's a lot of that stuff is based in something else,
But McFarlane is pretty disdainful of religion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's exactly what Mercer said too. He said it filtered through their religion. This is exactly what they're talking about.
Yeah,
right.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I was saying before, this episode, there's like a lot of the comedy is gone. This really has gone almost full Star Trek now at this point. At least the first two episodes. I don't know if they're going to bring more of that back, but I mean, there's a part of me that's like, when I first started watching the first two seasons of the Orville, I was a little irritated by how much comedy there was, but I liked it. But now that it's starting to go away, I'm like, hey, where's the go?
Well, it was necessary to get the show. He had to actually do that to sell the show. He actually had to do that though, because the network thought. I mean, if he had just said, "I'm just doing my own Star Trek riff," which he was, because what he loves, they, but if it was Seth MacFarlane, so they expected, potty humor and stuff like that.
Family Guy,
they thought they were getting a Star Trek parody. And he had to kind of present it that way. Yep. And yes, he slowly started to weed it out. It's still there a little bit, even as toward the end of the first season, but it never got in the way of any of the great ideas and concepts and story things. No. He blended it pretty well. And then, second season, same deal. Remember, he used it, but not as much. Mm-hmm. And I don't think he cares about that more than he cares about telling very Star Trek-like stories. I do believe that if Star Trek was not horrible and horribly ruined and completely just missing, and it's only in name only over there at the filth, that a guy McFarlane who loves Star Trek so much, he wouldn't be making the show if he thought there was a Star Trek out there.
Yeah.
Well, this is the age-old story of CBS told him to F off. And he went to CBS. He said, I want to do a Star Trek series. And they just laughed him out of the office and said, no, we're not going to let you touch our IP. And he said, fine, I'll go make my own with blackjack and hookers. And he did. He did. And it's better than Star Trek.
And he wouldn't have bought, he loves Trek enough that if they were making real Star Trek over there, he wouldn't have gotten into it. He would have probably wanted to participate or something if he could. This is Star Trek, though.
Yep, absolutely.
I agree.
Under an assumed name, but Star Trek nonetheless.
And as far there were like, I think there was two parts of the show I laughed at. I said one. We were talking in the green room before the show. I said one, but I think there's two. Number one was the Star Wars reference. That gave me a little chuckle.
Yeah.
You know, may the force be with you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Seth. Ha ha, you fucker. And then when they're talking in sickbay, and we'll get to more of this in a minute as we talk about the episode. When they're talking in sickbay, and they're talking about releasing a virus on the ship. And, you know, they ask Claire, how is this going to affect us? And she's like, you might get the sniffles. And Bortus straightens up like he's about to go into battle. And he's like, I am prepared. And I was just like, holy shit, that is, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
you got those little, and it's something Bortus would do. It's funny, but it's not like they were. It's like he knew this is gonna make everybody laugh, but because it's Bortus, it is so Bortus. It's just like the Be Silent thing, you know. He's gonna sing the Titanic song, and you know. And he's like, everyone be silent. You be silent.
Bortus is my favorite. He is my absolute favorite. I love
Yes. No, I absolutely agree. Bortus is my favorite. He's my favorite person on the show. Call me an Ist and Ob and a Yahtzee, you sons of bitches. Go right ahead. When Bortus is my favorite character. Yeah, him and Clyden. And the cigarette episode, I love. Oh my God.
That is the best. Just everywhere. And I love when they start accusing each other. Well, you got him hidden here, and I've got him hidden.
What was so funny was the way they kept lighting them up with their phaser knockoffs.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that got me in this episode. It was probably one of the, because the first time I watched this episode, I did not like it. I was like, something, like it felt like it was done too much. It's been done too much in science fiction, especially Star Trek. But at the same time, I also felt like, where the hell's the security on this ship?
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as they realized that he was a creature running around the ship, there should have been people with phasers and teams looking for, like, you don't see any of that. It's just like an empty ship with people running everywhere. And I'm just like, can somebody grab a damn gun so they could shoot some? I mean, you know,
apparently that dampening field that they had on there was suppressing all use of any kind of technology, weapons, or anything.
Yeah, because like they eventually do when she goes to confront later. When she goes to confront him, like they've got him. So I'm just like, where the hell have those been this whole episode?
Yeah, there is definitely a gap there, and I think they needed a little something to bridge the security going out versus them getting infected, because I kind of got the feeling like, oh, okay, that's why it's so empty, because their people are getting infected. At first, it just seems like there's just the two, but then when they're talking on the bridge, well, they're infecting the entire crew. It's like, oh, okay, and then later when you see them all scurrying and climbing on walls and stuff, it's like, oh, all right, they did go out and then they got infected. But there was just a little bit of a gap there that I'm like you. I would have liked to see, you know, release the hounds and have them go out.
Like, is this a starship or is this just all right, this is just a cruise line. I don't know what we're gonna do now. Everybody's dead. And so I don't know. That didn't seem very like true to form. That's definitely not how I would have handled a situation like that. I'm like, get the guns out, let's go hunting. But
it really gave me the feel
like we were discussing earlier too, you know, bringing the admiral, the captain, the first officer, everybody onto that ship at the same time. Not
Not a good
smart.
choice, guys. Bad choice.
The only thing I would have liked, just from kind of a personal romantic point of view, is I wish they had introduced him earlier in the show, because you do get that sense of feeling that, oh God, Claire's got to go through this. But if he had been a character we had seen before, slightly reoccurring, and then have this happen to him, oh my God, that would have been a major punch.
Yeah.
To see someone you're familiar with, that you like, who's not a bad guy, that kind of would have been cool. But
because they give you that kind of idea in the beginning that he's like he's the sleazy older guy that took advantage of, and it almost seems that way, and then you get more explanation and more information, and you're like, okay, so he's not that guy.
He was a professor though, and she was a student. But
that's true.
But I mean, they're both adults. She was at the academy, so I mean, she would have been adult at that time. But
but
and it was only
student.
It was only like 6 months before she graduated, though, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were having a relationship from I think it was 6 months. I have to go back and check. But it's not. I don't think it was like. And they waited to do anything official till after she graduated or whatever. And I think she said 10 weeks. They waited 10 weeks and then they ran off and got married. But he married her, and it just wasn't a relationship that worked out.
Yeah.
Adega said, of course, it was a red shirt that got bit in front of the boys.
I know. I saw that too. I was like,
my brother noticed that before I did last night, because he loved this episode. He's really into kind of horror science fiction, though. So I mean, that's what I went back and watched it again after I talked to him, because I'm like, man, I didn't like this episode at all. And what I think it was is that when I was watching it the first time, my internet connection was kind of bad. And so when they're jumping around and they're chasing them on the walls and stuff, it looked terrible. And then I went back and watched it again, and I'm like, that all cleaned up and it looked way better. And I'm like, okay, because I just thought this is cheesy. They did this better in Aliens 20 years ago than they're doing this right now. And then I'm like, but once you watch it in the right frame speed and stuff, like all that goes away. So I mean, my first impression kind of got tainted. And then, so it was a lot better the second time around.
Did anybody else just get irritated as shit about them two boys running around that ship when they should have been staying put?
Yeah, that was a little, like the boys have been good so far compared to kids and other stuff, but they need to maybe.
Yeah, but kids get restless.
I know, but I don't think they need to figure into every damn episode.
No.
Episodes.
No, I don't think so either. I just know that boys are restless, and when you've got a dark situation, and he explained that, I'm not looking out that damn window and seeing nothing. I'm not standing in our quarters looking out that window being creeped out. He felt like he had to get out, and that anxiety, I can totally relate to that anxiety of wanting to be out of that room and what's going on, and maybe that'll teach him a lesson, hopefully.
No, but they've used the boys fairly well and very well on the show, and those kids are good actors. I'm saying that's two Claire-centric episodes with the boys. We could stand and not see them much for a little while now, I think.
Orville's done. Go ahead. Go ahead, Orville.
No, I was just saying, when I got shades of Jurassic Park, y'all, I guess I got dinos on the brain, but when they were in the bar, the kids were in the bar and they're looking around, and then that thing's coming at them. I don't know, this episode, it was like I saw Aliens, I saw First Contact, a Jurassic Park, of course, the nod to Star Wars. I mean, it was almost like it felt like for me an unintentional homage to all these different kind of science fiction, fantasy things that we love. That's the feel I got. And let me tell you something. Okay, as far as the kids and shit, my power was out all day and all night the other night, and at night, everyone was going outside. Everyone in this neighborhood was going outside because it was pitch black in our houses. It was creepy as hell. I could hear everyone talking. And I walked out on my front porch and everyone's sitting out on their front porch. So I could kind of get that, oh my God, we're sitting here and we're in darkness. And that they're kids. I could definitely, that made sense to me. That
See,
makes
if I'm
total
the
sense.
kind of parent that would have set up my door so that when the power goes out or something like that, it just seals you in.
Yeah.
I'm like, you don't, no, you're not getting out. No, I know my kids, and they would do exactly what I told them not to do. So now you can't.
Yeah. I definitely see the Jurassic had it park vibe there.
Yeah. I was waiting for one of them to pick up some Jello and have it shake.
They used
You
the
know?
jump scare in this episode
yeah.
quite effectively, I thought. You can kind of see it coming, but I mean, they use that quite a bit, which is kind of one of my. I'm not a big fan of gore horror, but I do like suspense and like
Yes.
jump scare. Yeah, I mean, I like that kind of horror stuff. So, Aliens is one of my favorite all-time science fiction films. So it was kind of fun to see that aspect. I was just waiting for that Vasquez moment. Let's rock.
Oh, dude, man, that is something man, you only get that at the very end of this episode, and I think that was a mistake.
Yep.
I wanted bug stompers. I wanted people going out. For those of you who don't get the reference, that is in Aliens. That's what is on the drop ship in Alien. There's a big like eagle with boots on it. It says bug stompers underneath. I wanted that. I wanted them going out, fighting these things, corridor by fight hand to hand if you have to. I want Starship Troopers level kill them all. And we didn't really get that until the last minute of the episode, the last couple of minutes. And where the hell did those two crewmen come from? It was Bortus, Tala, and the doctor in sickbay, and then suddenly they've got two crew members with rifles with them, kicking ass and taking names. Where the hell did they come from?
They sent someone to get some more security people right before that scene.
They finally found the security people. Oh, there they are. They're all over the
Yeah.
Were you guys at convention? Get in here.
They were all hiding in the rooms from the bugs.
I'm glad I hope they got this out of their system. One little horror thing's fine, but I don't really need that from the Orville. I don't need it to be ultra violent or horror that much. I understand what they were doing. This episode was clearly put together so that Seth could set up another big bad, sort of something that may unite them all later down the road, even with the Kalon and stuff, because we're going to find out this is a Cthulhu, really serious big bad that will threaten the galaxy. I think that's what he's doing. They almost remind me of the spider aliens from the old Valiant comics. And he wanted, they did a great job making, on these beings. They look really terrifying, and that's kind of what they were meant to do. But I think the most fun I had in this episode, because it was not a fun episode, not that it was supposed to or needs to be all the time, but I think I did have one moment of pure fun when Tala got to kick some ass, do some clobbering in that scene. Because when she walks in there, I was really thinking, okay, I hope they don't ruin this. And I sometimes you forget you're not watching Fake Drek. I'm going, I don't want them to get the better of her. I don't want them to scare her. I want her to whip these. I want her to. She's got superpowers. This is the perfect chance to see her cut loose on a couple of baddie aliens, and she did. That was a lot of fun, that scene.
Oh yeah, she beat the crap out of them.
I was really worried though that they were going to get her, and she was going to become like the superpower queen or whatever of the super strength and all that shit. But they didn't do that.
Yeah.
They didn't do that. I am too.
That would have pissed me off.
One thing that really got me.
Yeah. God, they didn't.
One thing that really got me was that chittering. That right there. That was kind of.
Wow. That insectile.
Where's Zero when we need him?
We never got to see her really cut loose in a fight like that against beings that could take it. And that was really good.
I mean, I could go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The scene that really brought it home to me was when Isaac faces off with one of them. And
that was great. That was a great scene.
Comes up and just like, what? And he just right up to him, and I'm like, oh,
that was really
Ripley and the Queen.
Yes, I mean, it was just one of those moments of you knew he was probably safe, but you're not sure what's going to happen to him.
The thing kept kind of studying him.
It didn't even know what he was.
Yeah, Isaac's got Tala and Alara's strength, so he's the only one that could go toe to toe with any of them. he could have broken that damn thing in half, and he just bulldogged it. He just stood there and looked at it, and it was like,
that was a great scene. That was
I can't make you one of us, so I don't want to. And just.
But the way how they kind of walk hunched, and then as it comes up to him, and it just stands up and gets. I'm like, that is the creepiest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah,
but it was awesome. I loved that moment. It was great.
That was really good.
This would have been a great October episode too.
Yes.
And I'm kind of wondering if maybe the timing of it, like if it was done this October, if it would have a different feel, or if people would have received it a different way. Because we're all in that mood when it hits October.
This was supposed to come out last year? Originally?
Well, I mean they can push it back a couple of times.
Yeah. I think it was more than once, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
So
If that's very possible that they had planned it to be in October.
Because it has that feel. It just has that, balls to the wall. Okay, this is serious now. There's no joke here. We are, we could be turned into these things very easily.
Well, and then the rape scene. I mean, when that creature basically rapes the guy and then spooges in his face, I thought that.
Yeah.
I was just like, ugh. But then the way that he starts to change so fast, I was like, I did not catch that the first time through, but it's really well done with things starting to grow out of his face. And I mean, I'm just like, wow.
And the kids are seeing that. The kids are like, "Oh my God,
that's nightmare
we should have stayed in the room."
6 months,
right?
Well, I bet they stay in their room next time.
Yeah.
These things are definitely some organic version of the Borg, where instead of sticking nanoprobes into people and assimilating them, they actually assimilate them by, changing their DNA.
Yeah,
and, refresh them, but it's still. It's so amazing how brilliant the show is. Rather than, for example, the Kaylon, they are the Borg, but they aren't. They're not the same types of beings. The Borg are this AI that's gone out there and just takes over people with its technology. The Kaylon were an abused AI that struck back against their masters and destroyed them. And yet, as threat-wise, they're a Borg-level threat in this universe. And yet, these writers are so clever that they were able to make them different enough from the Borg to make an interesting idea, to make them interesting. And now they come along. Now we have, because they're such good writers, now they've doubled their pleasure, if you will. You've got an organic version of the Borg, and you've got something similar to that with the Kaylon. He's got a plan with it. Mm-hmm. Although I hope to see more standalone episodes that don't deal with any kind of a war or anything for a while. I would like to see it go back to them having more standalone adventures where we're not. I mean, I understand that stuff's down the road. It'll help them. I don't want to get too story archy here.
Well, we're only getting 10 episodes, right?
Yeah, but they're 10 mini movies. And
that's all we're gonna get though for a while anyway.
They are pretty, long episodes. So I will give them.
Yeah, they're longer than the other ones. Yes, and we'll see. But again, if it's rewarded and it does well, he wants to do more.
Here's something that I really wish we had an answer about. A lot of productions got shut down because of the coup. So you had all these productions that got pretty much put on hold, they got stopped, but then you've got productions that were just fine and didn't have to deal with any of this shit. You have Tom Cruise going off on employees, telling them you're going to wear this, you're going to wear that, you're going to do this, because we're going to make this goddamn movie and no one's going to screw it up. And if any of you screw it up, he's like, I will come to your house. I'll beat the hell out of you. I'll beat the hell out of your whole family because you're not screwing up this movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll bury your fucking children if you screw up this movie. And I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering what got the okay and what didn't and why, because that really changed the dynamic of this show. It's why we had to wait so long. It's why we were like almost frothing at the mouth for the Orville. Give us the Orville. Why are we watching all this shit? We got almost 2 seasons of STD, for Christ's sake, instead of the Orville.
Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Maybe that's what he was thinking. I'm going to make these bitches wait for this,
Well,
so
he
that
was-
when it comes,
Yeah.
they're going to be like, oh, they'll be laying on the floor all spent after every episode.
Part of it was though that he was, after Fox had the show for 2 years, they were going through a thing where they weren't sure he was going to be able to sell it back to them to do another season. He had to fight with that when it looked like they weren't going to do it. He had to find a home for it. A gigantic chunk of the time between season 2 and 3 was doing that, establishing where he wanted to go with it, where he could go with it, and getting all that deal put together with Hulu.
Well,
Mr. Tickle Trunk with a $2 Canadian super chat said Spider-Borg Loogie Bukaki. Love this show.
Wow.
Thank you, Mr. Tickle Trunk.
I know y'all say they're spiders. They still seem like roaches to me. I'm sorry.
Oh,
They
Keith,
do.
what is up? Good morning, guys. Good morning. How are you guys doing? Keith says, I can answer that question, Loki. I would love an answer to that question.
I know Keith can do it too.
I would absolutely
I have faith
love
in him.
Give me just a minute. Keith. Okay, you guys talk. Don't give us dead air. I'm like digging around on my Twitter.
Hey,
Hey, the ending scene was pretty good, too.
Okay, we were talking about the Kalon earlier. I see also elements of BSG Cylons in them, not just Borg.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking about that's what I'm saying was so clever about them. Instead of just making them an exact rip of the Borg, they made them a Borg level threat. But there's a lot of differences between them.
Definitely.
They were absolutely, they weren't the Borg, only a Borg level threat, which again I thought was fascinating about them. And again, it shows the cleverness of this show. Where yes, it's Star Trek in spirit and all that stuff, but they're clever enough writers to still put their own spin on it and their own take on things.
Yeah, exactly.
Check your Twitter, Keith.
Like the heads coming off and flying around to go fly.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You're not kidding with that. I was
like, wait, what?
no.
That's not fair. They've got drones.
They do have a good artistic team though. From the way that space station looked to the way the spaceship looked, the aliens there, all of that was just
good.
Great.
Again,
yeah, that
it's
station
a nod to
screams,
everything
"Don't
that
come
we
here."
love, but it is unique. It is Orville, and yeah, I mean everything from the design to even the casting, the creation of the characters. I mean it definitely is. It stands on its own, but it homages all the things that, God, especially with the trajectory of Star Trek now, we need the Orville desperately.
See, it brought to me elements of SG or Stargate Atlantis with the Wraith.
I can see that. Yes. Oh my God, the Wraith and the Krill. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I was
thing.
like with the spider I'm just like, that's kind of a
These
nod
vampires.
to Atlantis, which I loved. I
Yeah.
loved all the Stargate shows except for Universe. I never got into that one, but I mean, it's like they're doing what science fiction does best. They take what others have done and they build upon it and make it better or tweak it, or because there's only so many ways you can do things, but it's just that cool thing where you pay homage and then do something a little better. I mean, that's what makes science fiction great, is it builds on itself.
The Kalon and Isaac in particular always made me think of like an updated today version of Robbie the Robot.
Okay.
Very Robbie the Robot, the way Robbie was, the way Robbie acted. But obviously the Kalon are evil Robbie robots. So
yeah.
And Ghost Rider says Cybermen. There's shades of that in there too.
Yeah, visually,
Cybermen.
yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just like Cybermen and Daleks have similarities, but they're not looks, but story-wise similarities. And then I remember when the Borg first came along, I'm going, wow, they're the Cybermen, Daleks, Cylons. I mean, there's a very familiar theme in all those characters, and yet some differences as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
well, even that first episode this season, Electric Sheep, Isaac Asimov. And the book "Do You Dream of Electric Sheep," which is what Blade Runner is based on.
That's actually Philip K. Dick, I think.
The Philip K. Dick for sure.
Yeah, but Isaac Asimov is where it started.
Oh yeah, he started
Yeah.
the
The robotics.
Yeah, the robotics. Yeah, I wasn't saying Blade Runner or any of that was written by Isaac Asimov. I was just saying the whole idea kind of started with Isaac and then ran downhill from there.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
that-
Adega's telling me to hush because I don't play in other sandboxes.
I love that Outer Limit, not Outer Limits, or Twilight Zone or Outer Limits with the robot in it. I mean, that
Outer
was
Limits.
Isaac. Yeah,
But
That
Leonard
was
Nimoy was in that one.
yeah. He was a reporter or something.
Yep.
Great one.
What I'm wondering is, he still had his wedding band on his pinky. I'm wondering if that's going to come into play in later.
Yes, you're going to see that.
Oh, yeah.
Or, his identification. Oh, okay, that's the admiral.
It's going to definitely.
You will see this again.
Because it's on there. When they showed his finger, there's no way that sucker's coming off.
Right.
The way his finger kind of grew around it is on there, unless
It's
he cuts
gonna-
his finger off.
Definitely play into it.
And I would like to welcome to the panel Keith. How are you? Oh shit. He was there and then he was gone. He was there and gone.
Had his,
Boomerang.
had his say, and he's done now.
Oh my god.
Very direct to the point.
Keith, I hope you come back, Keith. I don't know what happened.
He was
scared him
judging
off.
us this morning. He said, "Nope, not happening."
Mm-mm.
I can turn my camera off if that helps. I know I'm a little this time of the morning, so I apologize for that.
Come back, Keith. Run for president.
Run away from the light.
Oh,
You know what
shit.
I love though about this, the way this episode ended, was the fact that through this experience, Claire and Isaac both were kind of realize maybe we shouldn't throw away something that we had.
Right.
It's just
Oh,
it's kind of
yeah.
a sweet end
It was.
to this where they kind of reconnect.
I love
I
the
did
matter
laugh.
of fact. I love the
Yeah.
matter of fact way he was talking about their relationship. Oh, we
Yes.
had sexual
I was talking
relations.
to the admiral. And
Yeah.
me and you, I boffed you, he boffed you. So we were talking about that. Yeah, that was
Oh,
funny.
really? Okay.
I love Isaac whenever he's just deadpan like that because the admiral
Mhm.
comes in like they did last. Am I
2 teams in
interrupting?
a row. Yes. 2 weeks in a row. That was. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes. That's fantastic.
I think my favorite Isaac moment is was it Kelly who says to him, I'm speaking out of my ass," and he's like, well, something like speak clear, be sure to speak clearly or speak distinctly or something like that. I was like, oh my God.
I love
I'm
the
not
way
that
whenever-
logical minded, and that just kind of writing just fascinates me. I love it.
Yeah,
Baby, come
I love
back.
it when everybody asks him if they're disturbing him, and he always says yes.
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 I'm interrupting something important. Yes.
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 Okay.
And there's always this pause like, okay, I'm going to go on with what I was going to say, because they
Yeah.
learn that that's who he is,
Okay. Yeah, okay, let's see if we got him.
Hey! Oh, he just tripped over something.
I think he's putting on his seatbelt.
Hey,
How's it going, Keith?
I was afraid that was a fly one.
having an interesting time with technology.
I love technology. Yes.
You know, I think what it really comes down to for this show is that the whole thing and transferring everything over to Hulu and and having a bigger budget, rebuilding and building new sets. But on top of that, you got to remember, Seth MacFarlane has a brand new deal separate from what everyone else has. He's got an individual development deal with Universal. Okay, meaning that he can go off and develop stuff for NBC and Peacock Network and all of that stuff, independent of whatever they have with the Orville, which technically kind of sort of is with Disney now.
Yeah, so he's not under contract to Disney.
Nope, he's not. He can, and if he decides to leave the Orville, he can do that.
Wow. Can he leave with the Orville?
No, because it's under contract to some. He developed it for Fox.
Yeah, and Fox gets bought out by Disney, and
yeah, there you go. But Universal gave him this sweet deal that he could not turn down, and I don't blame him. You know, given how everything that seems to be purchased by Disney nowadays eventually suffers, which is the only downside about the Orville technically becoming a part of Disney, that I'm not saying Disney could sabotage anything they do, but at this point, I wouldn't put it past them for wanting to add things to it or for wanting the Orville to go a certain direction to fit a lot of the things that they were attempting to do with other properties.
They haven't renewed any of the actors' contracts. I found that out the other day. I was like, how can you not renew all the actors' contracts? So we don't know if there's going to be a season 4 of the Orville, who's going to be, if there is, who's going to be on it.
You got to understand, Disney sabotaged John Carter so that they could buy Star Wars.
Yeah, it's a shame too. I like that movie.
So, you know, any company that can do that, I mean, the Orville is really, really good stuff. I mean, personally, you and everyone here would love to see the show continue, and it would be a nice feather in the cap of Disney. But it depends on how Disney as a corporation, as a company, is going to be running a year, 2 years from now. You know, they got a lot of their own stuff they got to get taken care of before they can move on. And on top of everything else, with Warner Brothers and David Zaslav, that's really what they need. Disney needs their own Zaslav, is what they need. But I'm not certain that they're going to be able to get that anytime soon, and definitely in time to make a decision and to affect this upcoming season, next season of new episodes for the Orville.
If there is a season 4.
Well, and that's the sad fact. You know, this is a really well done show on multiple levels, but this also shows that when you have people that love what they're doing and are able to borrow ideas from all the stuff that they love, rather than making it one note and making it political and making it all of the stuff that Star Wars currently is, that the MCU has unfortunately become or is becoming. It's the reason why Warner Brothers in the end could end up being the biggest winners a year from now. You know, it's nothing but upside for them.
Really quick, I know, Arwyn, you've got to go soon. Can you give us a rating for this episode?
Wow. Okay. I would give it an 8.5 to a 9. I really enjoyed it. It was something, honestly, it was different from what I was expecting. And maybe, again, I'm too still kind of in season 2 and season 1 mode. I was expecting more comedy, but I didn't miss it. I liked the homages I felt, whether intentionally or just that I took personally from it, from all the different IPs that I enjoy, but yet it is still Orville. It still stands on its own. And it is the best Trek we have now. It really is. Even though it sounds like a contradiction, it's not. It's Orville, but it is in the spirit of Gene Roddenberry.
Yep.
And I'm eating it up. I love it. I absolutely love it. So yeah, 8.5 to a 9 for me.
Yeah.
All right. Keith, I know you haven't been here for this whole thing, but you did see the episode. Did you see the episode?
Oh yeah, and I enjoyed it. It kind of reminded me of a Next Generation episode where everybody starts to devolve.
That was called Genesis, and boy, what we talked about at the beginning of the show, Brandon Braga is obsessed with turning people into monsters.
You know what? I got to admit something. Brandon Braga was really the less talented of that dynamic duo of writers. And I've read that he has since come, he's come full circle. He understands now where he messed up with Star Trek,
Right.
and why his ex-partner had to leave, and all of that drama that he helped to cause.
Yeah.
He's making up for it.
Oh, he really
with
is.
the Orville.
Give him credit. I'm just saying that when it comes to monster, the dude and changing people into monsters, I'm telling you, he's obsessed with it. He's done it 5-6 times throughout all of the treks, including one of the worst things ever on Voyager.
Isn't that where he turned him into a fish?
Threshold when he turned. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I gotta go, y'all. I just want to tell y'all have a good day.
Arwyn, thank you so much for being
Arwyn.
here, Arwyn.
All right, I'll talk to y'all later.
Have a great
Bye.
one. I really got like a fly. The Fly, if anybody
Yeah.
remembers that. Yeah, it was kind of like, and then he, of course, it's Spider and Monster and Chase and whatever. But when he turned and he had those black eyes on the side of his face, I was like, it's the Fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
If I had to give this episode a rating, I agree with Arwyn. She has it dead on. This is a really well done episode, well balanced, not really needlessly gory or anything like that. This is a show that understands the audience that they have and the audience that they want. That is a very important point. Every television show, when you start spending a lot of money, you've got to understand the audience you have and the audience you want. And everything going on right now with Star Wars, with Kenobi, it's about the audience they have and the audience they want. Okay? And all the Disney Plus Marvel shows, the audience they have and the audience they want. The Orville is the best show on TV for right now because they understand that. They want everybody. They want the entire family. They want to make something that everybody can sit down and have a good time with. They don't care about whatever personal beliefs you have. If you are in any way a science fiction fan, enjoy this. That's what this show is about, and that's why I enjoy it so much. That is a fantastic team they have. And again, it's just a testament to building good teams and having a good relation with the fans.
Yeah, they need to just make a poster with Seth in the background pointing in an Uncle Sam uniform saying, "We want you."
Yeah, it's positive. All of it's positive.
You get that feeling that he really does want, everybody.
Yes, and think of it this way. You got to understand, Seth was one of the people that actually had a proposal to CBS for a new Star Trek program. He had his own. J. Michael Straczynski had a proposal, and they turned them both down. Either one of those guys running Star Trek would be a fantastic thing over what we have right now, over the people that are currently in control of it.
Oh, monkeys throwing poop in a cage would be better than what we've got. Oh my gosh.
Pretty much what you have now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Gay Bob, what did you think about? Give us a rating and tell us what you thought.
Well, visually, I'm going to give it a 9. It was stunning. The visuals were great. The artistic license these people have should be renewed again and again. But overall, the story was a little repetitive for me. And so it's going to bring it down to about a 7.5 overall.
All right. Brian.
I would give it a 7, which is better than, like I said, the first time I watched it, I was going to give it like a 4 or a 5. But then I rewatched it with better internet connection, and a lot of my concerns went away. But it still missed it missed the opportunity of showing the security, trying to fight back the transforming of their crew. It just seems like everybody disappeared into corners, and then there was a lot of running around the ship with nobody in charge, and I that felt very off to me. It kept it from being, it took a great episode and it kind of moved it down to a mediocre episode, where it just felt like we're set. Why isn't Captain Mercer more like, guns blazing, get out there and contain these things? And, Lamar's having to hide in a brig so that he doesn't get changed. And I did love the chase scene through the Jeffrey tubes. I don't call them that, but that's a creepy moment in there. And I really did like that. But there's, it was great, but it missed some key points that really would have just, made it an epically good jump off point for this new species they just introduced. Like one of the questions I was left with was, how the hell did they get off the ship? Is like they tell them to leave, and I'm just like, were they going to float to the other ship? Did they take a shuttle? Like, how did they get off? And they never really talk about that. So it left some open-ended questions, and I didn't want to be negative because I did like it, but there were some things that I think that they could have handled better.
You brought up the Jeffries tube really quick. I used to think that Dallas in the original Alien movie was a pussy for freaking out when he is in those little tunnels, right? I was like, he's such a pud for like, where do I go? What do I do? I want to tell you something. I did that survivor thing on Alien Isolation in BR. When you're in those fucking tunnels and you've got homegirl screeching at you and she's like, all right, Dallas, go right now. You freak the hell out. There is no like, I stay calm and no. So I have a whole new appreciation for anybody in a tunnel being chased by a goddamn monster.
Yeah.
You do not want to be in that situation.
No.
Clobby, give us a rating and tell us what you think.
Well, I'm not big on the horror stuff. This was basically a very set up episode. Did not blow me away like the first, like Electric Sheep did, but it had enough enjoyable Orville stuff in there to make it at least some one you stick with. There are a lot of great scenes in it. I understand what this episode was doing. They were setting up a portents, down the road stuff. And with these beings, we're definitely going to see them again. It's going to be something that they're going to use. And I get that this is like a setup episode for that sort of thing. So, again, there were some really nice scenes in it. I don't think it's bad. I think there was also some lapses in logic, to be honest with you, with some of these story points, especially like some have mentioned how the ship looked too empty sometimes. Different bits, but and the Admiral, I don't know. I'm not sure he needs to go on away missions. They kind of screwed up with some of their away mission stuff anyway. Like you go over there initially without suits. They need to actually work on that. But, overall, it was entertaining. I love the scene with Tala fighting the things in the shuttle bay. That was like a highlight for me or whatever. So I'm gonna have to go a 7. I mean, certainly not bad or anything, but it's a very set up-ish episode. And again, I'm still looking forward to next week, and I think it could be, hopefully, it'll be a lot better.
Like you just said, 7's not bad. I'm going to give it a 7.5. I heard someone give an episode of Kenobi a 7.5 the other day, and I said, you're smoking fucking crack if you give Kenobi a 7.5.
Oh my God.
But I'm gonna give this a 7.5, and the reason is it's a great episode. It's good. It's suspenseful. There's just some decisions that were made by the characters and in the writing that I didn't agree with. I wanted to see the crew, fucking hunting it down like it's the Predator.
Right.
There were things that I wanted, but that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just letting them off the ship is the big sin to me. No, you kill them all. You release that virus. I love that scene with Bortus. Where they're talking about the virus, and is that going to affect us anyway? Oh, you might get the sniffles. I am prepared. I just, that's so right. Bortus. Thank you, God, for keeping Bortus. He's been Bortus in both of these episodes, and I love the fact that is him. That is the way he is. It so reminds me of Worf in TNG, that they never really compromised with who Worf was. Even when there's Crusher's trying to convince him to save a Romulan. He's like, no, that bitch having my Klingon blood. That's my Klingon blood. You ain't pumping Klingon blood into a Romulan.
Right.
Just because Crusher wanted him to, they didn't do that. They didn't mess with any of that. So, And it was an okay story. I love the visuals, obviously. I love the visuals.
Fantastic.
You're right, though. This has been done before, but that doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that they kind of took it and did it their own way. I love the fact that it looked like The Fly. That really bugged me out. There's a dad joke for you.
I just hope Brandon Brackett's got it out of his system. Don't let him do any more of that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I don't know. It's an enjoyable episode. It was fun. I've really enjoyed both. And it gave you that whole subverting what you thought the episode was going to be about. You start the episode and you're like, oh, God, they're going to do like the Admiral slept with Claire when she was a student. And she did it because she felt she had to. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is really where they're going. And then poof, something totally else happens. And I'm like, all right, thank you. All right.
Yeah, he actually still loves her.
Yeah, he actually still loves her.
Mean, which I didn't see that coming. I was.
It's not some sleazy old man. Go ahead, Keith.
Well, I was just going to say, I think a lot of that is going to come back to play later on. In fact, they may even bring that actor back. Unlike episodes of Star Trek, definitely some of the Next Generation and other shows, I think the Orville could be different in figuring out a way of bringing some of these people back. This season is about taking the show back to being a show about exploration, which ironically isn't something that you're getting from the people who currently have the license for Star Trek. No. It's about interpersonal relationships and trauma for those shows. And with the Orville, it's about just, hey, it's the experience of trying something new. And going places where we've never gone before. And while there are things familiar, you got to understand this is only technically this is season 3. Should have been season 4 for this show.
Right. Yeah.
And they are still building their universe. This is all still kind of brand new. And yet look at how we're responding to it. There's nothing but a positive upside for this show. But then again, when you look at the people that are behind the show, whether it's Brandon Braga, John Kazar, and Seth MacFarlane, and even Jon Favreau has to be given some credit.
Don't forget Tom Constantino. He's a good dude.
Yes.
Oh, and Tom Constantino, who I think should be making cameo and guest appearances on everybody's show. If you don't know who Tom Constantino is, you got to follow that dude on Twitter. Yeah, I mean, he is.
And Chief, the other night, when our good friends in Canada were not getting the show on time, they got it real late. We didn't, and they don't know that they get it after us. Raquel was going crazy waiting for it. I tagged him and Seth in a tweet, and 5 minutes later, Tom Constantino's going to. What? Canada didn't get it yet? I mean, he's concerned. He's always such a nice dude. He's really a good dude.
Everybody needs to have a Tom Constantino working on their show. I think he is a fantastic representative for the show. Really and I would love to just sit down with that guy and just talk with him for a while. See, this is another thing that makes the Orville so much better than corporate Trek, because it's about people and relationships, which is really what Star Trek was about for the longest time before they brought it back in the late 70s. It was always about people and relationships and with the fans and really making it fun for everyone.
Yes, indeed.
Couple of super chats I want to take care of before we get out of here. Mr. Tickle Trunk with $2 Canadian super chat says Orville didn't subvert, it surprised and delighted. I absolutely agree with you.
Yes.
Arabic Sonder with a $1 super chat doesn't say anything. Brother, welcome, greetings, and thank you so very much for the $1 super chat. And McKinney Draws sends us a super sticker of a Shiba Inu farting hearts. Thank you so very much. McKinney Draws, brother, thank you for the $2 super sticker. Guys, you absolutely rock. And since I haven't seen his ass in here today, we're going to shout this one out for our good friend, Mexican Iron Man, and all of you that have sent in super chats this morning. Skol!
senor.
Brian's just like laughing his ass off and clapping as that's going on.
I'm sorry. That came on. I just started laughing. Oh, that was good.
And Mexican Iron Man is deathly afraid of Alf. So,
Yes, he is.
yes, he is. Guys, thank you so very much, everybody. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, Dave, Bob, Speaker for the Dead. Keith, thank you for popping on. And, of course, Clobberin Times. Thank you guys so very much for me. We're going to do a big, we're going to have a 1,800 subscriber celebration. I don't usually do, like, between anything like that. I didn't do one last time. But we hit over 100 subscribers in 28 days. So I think that's something to celebrate. We've never done anything like that before. So tonight on the Late Show, we're going to have a special Friday Night Late Show with Mexican Iron Man and guests tonight and celebrate hitting 1,800. Hopefully you guys can be there. Thank you guys so very much. I love this show. I love hanging out with you guys. I love getting to do this. So we will be back next Friday. Until then, take care. Oh my God. Woggly Eyed Wendy with $1.99 super chat says, "Where's my Latino jalapeno?" No.
On a steak.
No.
On a steak.
We're out. Take care. Be excellent to each other. Always speak friend to enter. And we'll catch you guys.
Everybody.
Yes. Have a good
Y'all
weekend.
have a good one.
Guys.
These videos are tremendous. Like, comment.
No, I can't get the super sticker to go away. No. Woggly Eyed